Senator Brecken, the Jersey Child Protection Committee serious case review has just been released. It's, I suppose to say in a word, it's damning right across the board, isn't it?
Yeah, the thing is, it is, I would describe it as uncomfortable, but it's something that they had to do. We looked last year at serious case reviews that have been done before, and there wasn't any. So although this is uncomfortable for many concerned, there's some very serious issues here for the services we provide which need to be addressed, and I would commend the Child Protection Committee for doing that, because they had to go there. It hadn't been done before, but it's definitely necessary, and there may be others.
Well, you said that in 10 years there's never been a serious case review, never.
Well, again, that's questionable, because there's issues, there's papers I've seen that have been before the courts that question why that should be, because in some instances the services have been excellent, but in other areas children have been failed.
I suppose it would be fair to say there would be, if there was a serious case review, these people would really be investigating themselves, wouldn't they?
Well, that might have been the case in the past, and that's perhaps why it hasn't happened, but that's not good and healthy, because any organisation needs to have external view and audit, and perhaps that hasn't happened here. It's happened now, and I think it probably needs to happen again.
Yeah. One of the pivotal moments, as said, one of is the judge's decision back in 1999 to send these children back to their abusive mother. You know, who is this judge? This is a pivotal decision. Who was this judge?
I don't know. I haven't seen that decision, but I don't think it will be a judge sitting alone. But there is phrases in the serious case review that say that professionals were surprised by this decision, because the children were doing quite well in a fostering situation. They were developing, and of course when they were returned to a birth situation, things went backwards and indeed got a lot worse.
It's, again, unfortunately, this is another one that's going to be held unaccountable. It beggars belief, some of this stuff. Now, this serious case review and the Verita report, let's be honest about it, are damning and scathing on our health and social services. Certainly the serious case review is damning on our education department, home affairs, all the rest of it. But this completely contradicts the Chapman report, doesn't it? Didn't the Chapman report say what a lovely bunch we had in our health and social services?
Yeah, the Chapman report also questioned why the scrutiny panel was seeking a committee of inquiry, and I think that was justified. Unfortunately, the states didn't vote for it. 30 members voted against, but there are some issues there. There's many people doing good work, we mustn't forget that, but where there are issues we must put them right, because families and young people's life in particular have been affected when this is not working properly. Well,
just so we can get this straight, the Chapman report said there's no need for a serious case review.
We were actually recommending a committee of inquiry into some of the services related to children, and they said that we must move on and perhaps not do that. And I don't know where that comment came from or why, but probably from inside. But it's not good and healthy just to move on, ignore failings of the past, when perhaps we need to learn from them to make sure that they certainly don't happen in the future.
Do you think, what kind of a message do you think this is sending out, when all we ever get is, let's learn from the past, let's learn by our mistakes, let's move on, let's move forward? Isn't that sending a message out saying, come and work for us in our health and social services, come and work for us protecting our children, because any mistakes you make or any mess ups you make, you'll never get held accountable?
Well, you know, there are some very, very real issues here, and we can't just move on, because we need to learn from that, and if mistakes have been made, we must be open and honest about that. We can't put them right, but we must do what we can to make things better for the people concerned. And you know, then we can move on, but we'll move on positively, learning from that, but also recognising that where people are in positions of responsibility, they have to be accountable for that. We can't just move on and ignore it.
So I think as Advocate Hanson said that people should be held. There are people still here that should be held to account. Do you agree with them? Somebody should be held to account. A message should be sent out that you are going to be held to account.
Certainly. I mean, when we move to ministerial government, we were talking about concentration of powers, delegated powers, and all that. But you can't have that without people being accountable. You know, it's okay letting people get on with the job, but then if things go wrong, somebody's got to be accountable. It's no good, you know, well, nobody's to blame. Well, actually, somebody is, but we don't want to have a blame culture for everything, but at the same time, people have to be accountable. They have job descriptions, they have areas of responsibility, they get fairly well paid, and we need to recognise that, and somebody, as well as politically at officer level, has to be accountable for some of these areas.
Okay, now I suppose this does again beg the question. I know your sub-panel, you and your sub-panel spent the best part of 20 weeks here with this review of yours, and you know, do you think what was the point? It went to the States to be voted on, and it got voted down. 30 people who will be getting named on my blog. 30 people voted against your proposition. What is the point of scrutiny?
Well, the thing is, that report came out at the end of July last year, and there was a lot of work went into that, and we met loads of people across the services, and we met young people, Lamoy, Greenfields. We really worked hard for that period to produce that, but now we can refer back to that and say, well, this is what we said, and I said at the time, that report is not the end of it. It's part of a process of improving services, because the Williamson report wasn't covering every area. There was still gaps in that, and there was changes needed to the services. There was recommendations from the Cathy Bull report that was still not acted upon. There was problems with the corporate parent about the three politicians working together. That hadn't happened. It does appear that some are getting their act together in different places, but we still need to do more, and we need to finance it properly so that you know, we can stop these things from ever happening again. Yeah.
Okay. Now there's. Can you put the record straight for us? Senator Jimmy Pershard has said he commissioned Professor June Thorburn, and Senator Sivray said he commissioned her. Who commissioned Professor June Thorburn?
It was Stuart Sivray. My understanding is that he removed Iris Lefevre, who was the former chairman of the Child Protection Committee, and brought in June Thorburn. It was one of the last acts he did before he lost his ministerial post.